Open English Podcast. Welcome back to the English Leap Podcast, your cozy place to learn real English through real conversations, and maybe along the way, understand yourself a little better too. I'm Mira.
And I'm Liam. And today I want to start with a question. Not a big dramatic question, just a small, honest one.
Okay.
Is there something you've been wanting to start for a while now that you still haven't started?
Yes.
Me too.
A course, a project, a conversation you keep putting off, a language you've been meaning to learn for 2 years.
Maybe a new job, a new city, a new version of yourself that you keep saying next month, next year, when the time is right.
And the time never quite feels right.
It never does.
Today, we're talking about that feeling, the fear of starting something new. Not the fear of failing, we'll get there, but that specific, quiet fear that lives right at the beginning, before you even try.
That moment when the blank page is in front of you, and instead of writing, you just close the notebook.
And make tea, and check your phone, and suddenly it's been an hour and the notebook is still blank.
Yeah, that moment.
This is a B1 to B2 level episode. We'll speak naturally like a real conversation, but we'll slow down for important words and explain them clearly when they appear.
And if you're a strong B1, please stay. This topic isn't just about English. It's about something every human being feels. And sometimes hearing it said out loud in any language is enough to make it feel smaller.
We have a comment challenge for you today. Finish this sentence. Something I've been afraid to start is blank. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be impressive. Just honest.
Mine is embarrassingly simple. I'll tell you later.
He will tell you later. And if this episode feels like something you needed today, please like it, subscribe, and maybe share it with one person who also has something sitting unstarted in their life.
Which is probably everyone you know.
Probably everyone. Okay, Liam, let's start here. When you think about starting something new, what's the first feeling in your body?
Excitement first. For about 4 seconds.
4 seconds. That's very specific.
It's a very short window. And then something else comes. Something heavier. Like a hand on your shoulder saying, "Are you sure about this?"
That voice.
That voice. And it doesn't shout. That's the thing. It doesn't need to. It just asks very calm, very reasonable sounding questions.
Like what?
Like, what if you're not good enough for this? What if people see you trying and judge you? What if you start and then stop and look like someone who couldn't follow through?
And those questions feel so logical in the moment.
So logical. That's what makes them hard to argue with. It's not irrational panic. It's dressed up as common sense.
There's a name for that voice, actually. Psychologists call it the inner critic. That internal voice that questions, doubts, and judges your own choices, often before anyone else has said a single word.
The inner critic is always the first one to speak, and the loudest, even when the room is quiet.
And for a lot of people, the inner critic gets especially loud around new things, because new things mean uncertainty, and uncertainty is uncomfortable.
Our brains genuinely don't like uncertainty. They prefer familiar even when familiar isn't good.
There's actually a phrase for this. Better the devil you know. It means the thing you already know, even if it's difficult, feels safer than something unknown.
Better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
So your brain looks at the new thing, the new job, the new language, the new beginning, and says, I don't have data on this. This could go badly. Stay where you are.
Stay where it's mapped, where I know the roads.
Even if the roads you know lead nowhere particularly exciting.
That's a little painful when you say it that way.
It is, but it's also very human. And I think it's important to say, being afraid to start something new doesn't mean you're weak or lazy or that you don't really want it. It usually means you want it a lot, and that makes it scarier.
Say more about that.
The things we're most afraid to start are usually the things that actually matter to us, the things that feel connected to something real, our identity, our worth, our dreams. And so the stakes feel high, too high sometimes to risk.
If I try and fail at something I don't care about, fine. But if I try and fail at something I love,
That feels like losing a part of yourself.
and so sometimes it feels safer to never try, to keep the dream clean and untested.
Gently protect the dream by never touching it. Exactly. We call that staying in your comfort zone, that familiar, safe space where you know what to expect, where risk is low, where nothing new can hurt you.
The comfort zone isn't a bad place. It's warm, it's predictable, but nothing really grows there.
Nothing grows, but nothing breaks either. And for some people, at some points in their life, that trade feels worth it.
Until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't.
Can I tell you something I've never really said out loud?
Please.
I almost didn't start this podcast. I mean, doing this, speaking, recording, putting my voice out there for people to hear.
Really?
I kept thinking, who is going to want to listen to me? What do I actually have to say? There's so many people doing this better. Why add another voice to the noise?
And yet, here you are.
And yet, here I am. But it took a long time and a lot of deleted voice memos. And one conversation with a friend who said something I think about often.
What did they say?
They said, the version of you that starts is already better than the version that doesn't.
That's a good thing to have someone say to you.
It really is, because it takes the pressure off being good at the start. You don't have to be good, you just have to begin.
There's actually a concept around this. It's called beginner's mind. The idea that when you're new to something, you see it with fresh eyes, without assumptions, without the weight of expertise. And that's not a weakness, it's actually a kind of freedom.
A beginner can ask questions an expert feels too proud to ask.
A beginner can try things that seem naive, and sometimes those naive attempts lead somewhere no expert would have looked.
Because they already knew too much to try.
So the beginner's mind is something to protect, not something to be ashamed of.
And I think that connects to something else, the idea of permission. Because a lot of people are waiting for permission to start.
Who do you mean?
I mean, they're waiting to feel ready, waiting to know enough, waiting for someone to say, yes, now you're qualified, now you can begin.
And that permission never comes, because readiness doesn't arrive before the start. It arrives during.
You don't become ready and then begin. You begin and then slowly, messily, you become ready.
That shift in thinking changes everything. From I'll start when I'm ready to starting is how I become ready.
It's not comfortable, but it's true.
And maybe the most honest thing we can say today is this. You will probably never feel completely ready. The fear will probably still be there when you start.
And that's okay. You start with the fear, not after it goes away.
You bring it along like an annoying passenger in the back seat.
That you didn't invite but somehow got in anyway.
And you drive.
And you drive.
So, what actually helps? Not in a fix-everything way, just small things that make starting feel a little less impossible.
The first thing that helped me, and it sounds almost too simple, is making the first step embarrassingly small.
What do you mean?
I mean, if you want to start writing, don't say, I'm going to write every day. Say, I'm going to write one sentence tonight.
One sentence.
One sentence, because your brain cannot argue with one sentence. One sentence is harmless. One sentence has no stakes. And once you write one, usually you write more.
The start creates its own momentum.
Exactly. The hardest part is the first word. After that, the second word is easier. The page isn't blank anymore, and something in you relaxes.
We call that lowering the threshold. The threshold is the entry point, the minimum required to begin. And when you lower it enough, starting stops feeling like climbing a mountain and starts feeling like just stepping outside.
Just stepping outside your door. That you can do.
The second thing, and this one is about how you talk to yourself, is separating your worth from your result.
Say that again.
Your worth as a person is not decided by whether this new thing goes well. You are not more valuable if it works. You are not less valuable if it doesn't.
That sounds obvious, but when you're inside the fear, it doesn't feel obvious at all.
When you're inside the fear, your brain tells you, if this fails, it means something about who you are. It means you're not smart enough, not talented enough, not enough.
And that's the real fear, isn't it? Not the thing itself, but what failing at it might say about us.
And the answer, the honest answer, is that it doesn't say anything permanent about you. It says you tried. And trying, especially the first time, is always imperfect. That's not a character flaw. That's just how beginnings work.
Beginnings are supposed to be rough.
Every expert you admire had a beginning that would embarrass them now. Every confident person you know was once terrified of the thing they do easily today.
They just started anyway.
They started anyway.
Let's slow down and walk through some of the words from today. A calm word tour. Repeat after us if you'd like, or just let the words settle in.
Inner critic, the voice inside your own mind that questions, doubts, and judges your own choices before anyone else has said a single word. For example, my inner critic told me I wasn't ready to apply for the job. Or, learning to quiet your inner critic is one of the most useful skills you can develop. Repeat, inner critic.
Comfort zone. The familiar, safe space in your life where you know what to expect and risk feels low. For example, speaking English in public pushed me outside my comfort zone. Or, growth almost always requires leaving your comfort zone, even briefly. Repeat. Comfort zone.
Beginner's mind, the open, curious way of seeing something when you're new to it, without assumptions or the pressure of being an expert. For example, approaching a new language with a beginner's mind makes the process more enjoyable. Or, she returned to painting with a beginner's mind and found it more freeing than before. Repeat, beginner's mind.
Threshold. The entry point. The minimum amount of effort or courage required to begin something. For example, making the first step small lowers the threshold and makes starting easier. Or, sometimes the only thing stopping us is a threshold we've made too high in our own minds. Repeat. Threshold.
Better the devil you know, a phrase meaning something familiar, even if it's difficult, feels safer than something unknown. For example, she stayed in the job she didn't love because better the devil you know. Or, that phrase explains why so many people avoid change, even when change would help them. Repeat, better the devil you know.
And finally, start with the fear. Not a fixed phrase, but an important idea. It means you don't wait for the fear to disappear before you begin. You acknowledge it's there and you start anyway. For example, I started the course terrified, but I started with the fear and it got smaller. Or, the bravest thing isn't having no fear, it's starting with the fear still present. Repeat. Start with the fear.
So, if there's something sitting unstarted in your life right now,
We're not going to tell you to just do it. That's not how fear works.
we're going to say the fear you feel before starting something that matters is not a sign you shouldn't do it.
It's usually a sign that you should.
The blank page, the empty document, the first lesson, the first conversation, they're all waiting, not judging, just waiting.
And you don't need to be ready. You just need to begin.
Even imperfectly, even with shaking hands.
Even with one embarrassingly small sentence.
Don't forget to write in the comments. Something I've been afraid to start is blank. And Liam, you said you'd tell them yours.
I've been afraid to start learning to paint for 3 years. I even bought the brushes.
The brushes are waiting too, Liam.
I know they are.
This is Mira,
And this is Liam.
and you've been listening to the English Leap podcast. Take care of your English, take care of your courage, and maybe, tonight, take one embarrassingly small first step.
We'll be right here when you do.
Good night.
Good night.